Hello, you guys. It's nice to have a little breath. I hope you're all doing well today, and thank you for joining me today in our live stream. I am very glam for you today, and I bought a castle. Isn't it lovely? Planted some magical mushrooms for you. Bought you a castle. I'm inviting you over, and we are gonna read a little bit from the Rule of Saint Benedict. This is so fascinating. This was written in around 5 something AD. So shortly after the fall of the Roman Empire, which was in like 470 something. So this came out in probably the mid 500s. And they're basically his rules for how to live communally, but alone, basically, and how you can choose to live a solitary life in a community, because they realize that actually we do need community, but monks typically want to be living in a solitary way with God. And so we have Saint Benedict, who actually we have Saint Benedict here, who's written his rules for us. So we're going to be reading one which is called Restraint of Speech, which is very interesting. And the other, which is called Silence After Compline. So I wanted to read you some of the headings of the chapters. There are 73 rules on how one should live a solitary life in a community, communing with the divine. But before we do that, I wanted to play you a little tune, which I love. It's called In Dulci Jubilo. And it's, I think it means like joyous celebration, something like that. Joyous celebration. So this is an old tune as well. I think it's available on IMSLP somewhere, but anyway, this goes out to you. Take a moment in your day and just take a breath and stop all thinking for a minute. Just see, I have my microphone in a slightly different place. So hopefully it's all right. And hopefully you can hear me. Goodness, I hope you can all hear me. It seems like it's audible. All right, this goes out to you, you guys. One more time. So magical. It's actually a Christmas carol. I know it's September 20th today, but I just feel like, there's nothing like a lovely old medievally Christmas carol to just give us a little bit of peace and quiet. So let me move this a little closer. Oh, there's 4 of you here and 1 thumbs up. Thank you so much. Do you like my hair? I'm having a crazy hair day, so I just put it up and put on a glamorous gown to come and say hello to you. So let's read a little bit about Saint Benedict and his thoughts on silence. I actually just, was in the bathroom, was trying to figure out to put my face on this morning. I was trying to figure out what I would come and talk to you about today. And I was listening to something in the background. I'm often listening to like an audiobook or some of the great courses, but I was just kind of listening to something not edifying, really. And I just realized, wow, if I just turn this off, I can just like have some peace. Like I can just kind of actually have some time to commune with myself, with God, with have some creativity, some inspiration. Just having silence is so special. So before we take a minute to read this, let's just take a little breath and see if we can actually silence the waters in our mind, in our mental atmosphere. We might be thinking about a bunch of things, but just and stop thinking and just stop thinking about anything. We're in a little music bubble. And even though it's a mad world, we actually can consciously choose to just have a little bit of peace. And music often gives that to us, which is wonderful. But just a breath and have some time to relax. All right. So let's start with chapter 6, which is called Restraint of Speech. And it's short and sweet. Restraint of speech. Let us do as the prophet says. I said, I will keep watch over my ways, so that I do not offend with my tongue. I have put a guard on my mouth. I have kept silent, and I was humbled, and I refrained from speaking good things. Psalms 39, 1-2. Here the prophet shows that if it is occasionally right to refrain from saying good things because one values silence, then there is all the more reason to refrain from saying bad things because sin will be punished. In fact, silence is so important that permission to speak should rarely be granted, even to disciples who have made much spiritual progress, however good and holy and constructive words might be. For it says in Scripture, you will not escape sin if you talk too much. Proverbs 10:19. And in another passage, quote, the tongue has power over life and death. Proverbs 18:21. It is right that the master should speak and teach, while the disciple should be silent and listen. And so if something needs to be requested from a superior, the request should be made with all humility and submissive respect. We condemn jokes and idle gossip and anything said to make others laugh, and we ban such things from all places. The disciple is not allowed to open his mouth to say things of this kind. So it's just interesting how living in a communal, solitary setting, how important it is just to restrain speech. Like even just think about your work environment and how, I'm sure people are just talking, and there's inevitably gossip about this and gossip about that and complaining about this and complaining about that. And you're all doing your work alone, but you're communally there together. And just how important it is to just, like, imagine if you just all stopped that. How it would kind of change the vibe a little bit. Of course, it's nice to complain and all of that, and it's nice to gossip and talk and all of those things, of course. We're not living a monastic life, but it's just an interesting thought experiment. So anyway, that's chapter 6. Let's flip over to chapter 42, and this one is called Silence After Compline. I'm not going to read all of this one. I'm going to just skip around a little bit. So it says, monks should be silent at all times, but especially at night. This should always be the rule, whether it is a fast day or not. If it is not a fast day, as soon as they have risen from supper, they should all sit together, and one of them should read the conferences or the lives of the fathers, or something else that will benefit the listeners. And he goes on. Let me skip ahead a little bit. It says, when all have gathered, let them say Compline. And when they leave after Compline, no one is allowed to say anything more. If anyone is found to be breaking this rule of silence, he will be severely punished unless it was necessary to speak because of the arrival of visitors, or if the abbot gave someone an order. But even in this case, it should be done with the utmost seriousness and restraint. So controlling the human tongue is very hard to do. I mean, what I mean is even just for ourselves, like controlling our own things that we say is quite difficult. Anyway, I wanted to just read you some of the headings of the chapters here. So kinds of monks, that's kind of interesting. What kind of man the abbot should be. Summoning the brothers to consultation, the tools for good works, obedience, restraint of speech, which we read, humility, the divine office at night, the numbers of psalms to be said at night, the arrangements of the night office. And it talks about, because the monks they had a whole system of how the day would be structured, and they had certain readings that they would do. And let's see, thoughts on excommunication and all of that kind of thing, readmitting people who got excommunicated or leave the monastery, correcting the young, that's interesting, ownership, kitchen, tending the young and the elderly and the sick, the proper amount of food, the proper amount of drink, meal times, daily manual labor, all sorts of things. It's very, very interesting. So after I read this book, I think I read it last year sometime. It just kind of made me realize how important it was for these people that were literally just wanting to live solitarily. They wanted to not really be involved in society. They wanted to not have anything to do with what was going on in the world and in their communities and in anything. And they just wanted to go, at least initially, not be involved, but they just wanted to go and live a solitary life with God. And as time progressed, they realized they needed to actually move into communities, so that they could actually live and care for one another as people get sick or old or whatnot. And so they had everything in a very structured way in order to keep the harmony of the community, and how important harmony was to just that would maybe be one of the ultimate goals of the communities. The community is to just figure out how to live peacefully and harmoniously together, because the thing is that we're all humans. We're not angels yet. We're humans, and so we have our human nature to contend with. We have jealousy and envy and our thoughts about this and our thoughts about that, and the order, the hierarchy and the structure and all of that kind of thing. And so there's so many stories of monasteries going down interesting paths, and there's like some of them that really were able to achieve amazing, glorious things and became a light for their community that they were in. It just kind of kept going outwards to their community. As they preserved knowledge and then disseminated the knowledge to people that were able to receive that education. But anyway, I guess I just wanted to come here and take a breath with you and just have some peace and quiet for a minute. Just turn off all the stuff in the background and remember how for us as musicians, how music is there for us to help us shut our brains off, shut everything else out, close the door, be in the practice room, looking at the music, and just being with our instrument, and how incredibly important that is in our lives to just have that. And I know for so many of us out there, if we stop playing music for a period of time, we actually start to feel a little not ourselves. We just start to feel like, oh, what's going on? you know? And I think that's one of the reasons why I really enjoy these live streams, because it forces me to play something for you each week, and it reminds me, "Hey, I'm a teacher and a musician, and, I can play my instrument and get over all of the things that I struggle with." Everybody struggles with performance anxiety and being shy and, "Oh my gosh, I'm turning on the live stream," and, all of those kinds of things, but just that challenge, I think, has really helped me, and I enjoy our time together on Fridays so much. So, anyway, why don't I leave it there? I appreciate you all for being here today, and I will see you all next time. Lots of love, you guys. Bye. Bye-bye.